In the last 3 months, working excessively on the behalf of buyers within the Toronto condo market, seeing almost every single building from downtown Mimico, Midtown, North York, Toronto East, Toronto West, I think I found one building that has a lot of seller competition and an excess of inventory of a bunch of sellers trying to sell at the same time, cannibalization for a lack of a better word, and it is a really good opportunity for some buyers because this is all happening in oversupply in this building, and it's not even a bad building. It's actually a pretty decent new building in a sought after area. So I'm going to break down the building, break down the units, and tell you why it's happening, give you more context with regards to the area, what I'm seeing on the ground, what I am seeing according to the numbers. Before we do get into it though, if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate, a Toronto and GTA real estate agent actively working across the city. On this channel, we do everything having to do with the Toronto condo market and real estate market, buyer advice, seller advice, building reviews, area analysis, and so much more. So if you find any of this content enjoyable, definitely subscribe. Or you can find my contact information in the description box. Feel free to get in touch with me with any buying or selling inquiries. It's easier than ever to book a call with me. The link is in the description. And lastly, obviously, you do not have to do this, but if you feel like it's worth it, you can join the channel membership for additional support to the channel, and you will get members only content. So what is the building in question? Well, the building in question is a relatively new building, maybe on a familiar street in a well-known condo pocket, which is 251 Manitoba. And here we have the immediate area in question, 251 Manitoba on Manitoba Street. This is Legion Road right here. And this pocket is known for its condos, right? There's a lot of condos in this immediate pocket. Of course, further south by Lakeshore, there's all the Annie Craig buildings, all the Lakeshore buildings, Marine Parade buildings. But this is a little bit of a confined pocket here. And if we just go simply on Street View, and obviously these buildings are the Legion Road buildings, 165, 185, and 155 Legion Road. And then this is the new Manitoba building, once again 251 by Empire. And then you have the older Manitoba buildings on this side and behind this building, closer to the Gardner, 200 Manitoba, 250, now 251 Manitoba, and 190 Manitoba. And 251 Manitoba, once again, is the newest addition in this confined pocket of condos. Once again, comparing it to 250 Manitoba, the older one, 200, 190, and then the Legion Road ones, 155, 165, and 185 Legion Road. So without a doubt, in terms of age, it's the newest, it's the freshest, it's the most up-to-date and modern. Is it the best in terms of quality? I would probably have to say by slight margin, depending on units. You can compare it to 250 being even to 250, or even 165 Legion Road. But if you account for the age, it probably has the edge over those two. And once again, depending on the size, exposure, layout, I would probably have to give 251 Manitoba thus far, with regards to my exposure to it, a solid 7.5 to 8 out of 10. I think it's a pretty decent for a lot of first-time home buyers, especially in this pocket, especially in this part of Mimico, where you're a little bit further away from the hustle and bustle, really on Lakeshore, Marine Parade. But despite the quality of the building, there is an oversupply happening in this building at this point in time. And let me show you the exact figures here. For instance, let's just go to condos.ca and pull up the property, 251 Manitoba by Empire once again. And we see, as of this point in time, at the time of recording of this video, there's 16 units for sale, 9 units for rent, out of 499 units. Now, this figure of 16 for sale, 9 for rent might not seem a lot at face value, but let me tell you why it's more of a complicated story here. First and foremost, when I was showing this building as recently as 3 weeks ago, there was about 20 concurrent listings, so 4 more, and that's for sale, right? I was working with buyers. Furthermore, as we will see, most of the units on market for sale at this point in time, most of, whether it's 16 to 20, whether it's 15 to 21, whatever it is, most of the units for sale concurrently are very comparable in nature. So it's not just the quantity relative to the total amount of units in the building, it's just the variety as well. There's a lot of comparable 1+1s for sale at the same time in this building on market at this point in time. For a better understanding, let's go to the Realm system, the new system we have access to. And here we can take a better look at really what's been happening in the building. So we'll go to area, Toronto, obviously. We're gonna do available, unavailable, right? And we're gonna do for condos, sale. And we really want to see at this point in time how many units have actually sold in this building in 2024. So we're going to go to the sold, we're going to see for what has sold, and then to really narrow down to this building in specific, we're going to do 251, and then the street is obviously, and the street name is Manitoba, as we see. So we have 251 Manitoba, and then let's see how many units have sold since early 2024, so January 1st, 2024 to this point in time. And we see there has been a total of 21 sales. Let me just go to my preferred settings here. And we see a total amount of 21 sales. If we stack it by sold date, the most recent has been August 1st, and the earliest was January 15. And as you see, most of these are actually either 1+1s or 1s. But when we take a look at how many units have actually terminated so far this year or suspended in this building, this 21 sales takes on a new complexion, because when we take a look at the unavailable and expired, terminated, and suspended from the same point in time, we'll go to January 1st once again. We see a total of 60 results. That's right. That means in a roundabout way, so far in 2024, there has been 60 listings that have either been terminated, suspended, or expired in this building, 251 Manitoba. And then of the units for sale on the market right now, we see a lot of these units are quite comparable in nature. And these are units that I'm not, once again, speaking on purely from the internet. I actively work every day as an agent. I visit buildings. I've probably shown 6 units in this building. And there's a lot of internal competition happening. And if we just take a look at the 1s and 1+1s, right? Minimize it to that, currently 9 on the list, currently 9 on the market concurrently, 9 of the 16. These units are all highly comparable, right? If we stagger it by price point, putting aside unit 137, which is a 2-story townhouse, take a look at, for instance, 727, starting at 649, it's been on market for 88 days. The next up at 605, this has been on market for 60 days. And I've shown 10007, 2701, 824. These are a little bit more reasonably priced, but they're all competing against each other in price point. And once again, in terms of square footage, in terms of layouts, in terms of exposure, they're relatively comparable. In today's market, it becomes kind of a race to the bottom in terms of price cutting when there is an oversupply in a building relative to the overall demand. And one more thing I'll add that adds to my assessment of this building is after I showed 7 to 8 units in this building, I had a lot of agents calling me back for feedback. And once again, the units were really quite comparable. When you have very comparable units, and there isn't much of a distinction to be made in terms of exposure, layouts, sizes, right? Because in this building, the 1s and 1+1s are the box type with floor to ceiling windows that have decent exposures to the track and park behind the building. So pretty good, decent exposures. Or they're the railway layouts that have the same exposure, but they're a little bit more narrow, but they're more functional because there's better TV placement and couch placement. So of the 8 units I showed, the 1s and 1+1s fell under these 2 categories, and I had a lot of agents calling me for feedback, and ultimately the feedback came down to price point because all of them had parking. All of them had, lockers. All of them were either from 560 square feet to 580. The exposures were all relatively the same. And when that's the case, the selling point for a buyer in today's market, where it's a buyer advantageous market, the selling point in this internal competition of cannibalization is which one can I get for the cheapest. Once again, it's not a matter of which one I like the most because they're all quite interchangeable with small variations. Obviously some of them are higher floors, lower floors. So there is things around the edges, but when units are this comparable in a given building and they're all on sale at the same time, it leaves very little room for sellers, a lot of room for buyers. As always, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate. Let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe and stay tuned. Thank you.